let's get to some topics and have a little fun. Dave Chapelle is facing backlash after he allegedly criticized Israel's bombing of the Gaza Strip during his recent show in Boston. Now, Dave mentioned that students supporting Palestinians should not be losing their jobs, which prompted his audience to walk out in the middle of the set. Do you think Dave was out of line for expressing his opinion? Al, what do you think?
Well, listen, you got to understand that this is a part of his comedy, right? He takes a political stance on many things where people are usually voiceless. And I kind of have to respect him for that. I think how it got out of line here was what happened in this controlled environment. He was touching on it, and as we all know, we don't have video yet because they took the phones. But what we do have are firsthand accounts, and I've read the Wall Street Journal article this morning, and it said it got out of hand when a heckler actually stood up and told him to shut up. And so when the heckler stood up and told him to shut up, it was about 20,000 people in there. He then went on to say in his anger where he really stood politically. So he took a deeper dive where he talked about, he slammed the Israelis for bombing Gaza, the bombing of Gaza. He talked against the Palestinians.
Hamas.
And Hamas. And then he also criticized the U.S. for their military aid. So he kind of like really took a deep dive. And after he took that deep dive, other members in the audience just started heckling and screaming stuff. And a lot of them were screaming anti-Semitic stuff. So a lot of the Jewish people in the audience felt very afraid and nervous. In fact, some walked out. So it kind of went from like a political moment that he always touches on because you know he's going to do it to something that kind of ballooned into something that I probably feel he didn't want to happen at the end of the day.
All right, Q, what do you think about this?
Okay, see, now I'm paying attention. So listen, here's the thing, right? You know, and Al, I'm glad that you provided this extra information because when they were started talking about they were feeling unsafe and all of this type of stuff, I'm like, how are you physically feeling unsafe because somebody is on stage giving their point of view? Here is what I have a problem with, all right? Being African-American, I am not going to pretend like I know what it feels like to be a Jewish person. I'm not going to pretend like I know how the oppression feels and I understand from an emotional and mental perspective the beef between Palestine and Israel. But what I do not like and what I think is unfair is that on a human level, it's almost as if anybody who shows any support for the Palestinians are all of a sudden getting in trouble. I'm sorry, I don't think it makes me a bad human being because I say I don't like the fact that all these Palestinian babies and stuff I'm seeing on Instagram are being killed. I don't think that it's right that innocent Palestinians are being killed. Yes, I understand that Hamas are horrible people. Yes, I understand that Hamas is hiding within the ranks of the Palestinian people. And yes, I understand that there will be some casualties of war as Israel tries to get this thing under control and that Hamas bombed them first and Israel has the right to defend itself. But you are not going to silence me or anyone else for verbally saying we don't think it's right that all of these Palestinian people are just dying for no reason. There has to be another way.
I think you hit it on the head, Q. And you got to remember, Dave Chapelle is Muslim. And he did criticize the Israelis for cutting off the water and other essentials, into Gaza. So what that led to in the crowd was the people were saying, free Palestine, go Hamas. So you're right. Like some people are taking this conversation to the heart, to the core. And especially it appears the Jewish members of that particular show felt very unsafe with all the support around the Palestinians.
Well, think about the people in Palestine, how they feel. Think about the people in the Gaza Strip. And I've been saying the same thing Q just said for a minute. I am so sick and tired of people telling me I can't feel sorry for this. This is a type of situation where the average pedestrian citizen walking the street that does not have anything to do with terrorism, there's a child going to school, is getting punished to weed out Hamas. Hamas may be hiding amongst them. I have yet to see any footage of any members of Hamas, the terrorists, being murdered, but I've seen hundreds of videos of babies and kids and elderly people being murdered and being maimed. This is Gaza. The Gaza Strip is a unique place because 50% of their population is kids, right? They have a huge population of children. So you've got to know when you drop it a bomb, 50% of the time you're killing kids and you're not killing terrorists, right? And if you're okay with that, like, oh, well, it is what it is. Maybe I took out 3 members of Hamas, but yeah, 1,000 kids got killed. We're not allowed to have a feeling about that. And as far as the Dave Chapelle show goes, we know damn well when you go to a Dave Chapelle show, he's going to speak on hot topics and current events, and it's going to you better not.
And everybody's getting offended.
Like, stop it. And I feel like they made this story much bigger because I seen on some posts where they said, "Oh, I was there. 2 people walked out. It wasn't this big mass exodus of people that walked out." But yeah, you know, of course, I don't like what the system is doing to anyone that has empathy for victims. I watched a lot of videos this weekend. Have y'all? I know y'all seen this all up and down y'all timeline, right? It's. Have y'all seen any terrorist bodies? I've seen none. I've seen only babies and kids.
No.
So I like whatever method of war y'all going about, you're doing a crappy job of it because you certainly are taking out a lot of casualties. But it doesn't seem like, it seems very disproportionate to the people of the terrorist group that you should be targeting, not the average Palestinian. And that's what we have a problem with. And it's okay. It should be okay to say it.
And, you know, Claudia, it's just a little hard because, you know, I relate to this kind of like when white folks were digging all in our Black Lives Matter stuff and they were just talking. And I remember being offended, being like, but see, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what it is to be a Black person in America. So I try my hardest to reserve picking sides with this Palestine and Israel stuff, because I'm fair enough to say that I don't understand the intricacies and the ins and outs of it, but I do know enough to know that people should not be dying the way they're dying. We got some comments on the side. Miss Quisha said, he always does this. People knows his type of humor and they should not go to his show if they don't like his opinions. And Nakuro says, Nakuro people said, people who are too sensitive should not buy tickets to his show.